to the Toku Portal podcast for Kaitou Sentai LupinRanger versus Keisatsu Sentai PatoRanger. I am Vashi V, and joining me today are...
Decade.
The Little King.
And Rye.
And today we're talking about episode 14. So we open with the global police searching for a sound that might be coming from a gangler. Tsukasa points out that this is near Labroom's old hideout. He was the guy that turned his teleporting jaws into shark plushies. Keiichiro is pumped up because of a promise he made. And then we get a flashback to preschool where a teacher tells them about the sound she heard when checking the area where they're supposed to take a field trip. Sota, a young boy there, is determined to defeat the monster, because I guess he's heard the news that the trip might get cancelled. And he has a fake LupinRanger sword. I don't know what those swords are called, because I haven't seen any advertising for them. But anyways, Keiichiro tries to assure Sota that the global police will take care of the gangler, but his painfully stiff smile doesn't convince him. And then we cut to the present. The sound is coming from underground. So Jim begins analyzing the mountain. Thoughts?
Okay. Man, alright. For one thing, it was kind of nice seeing Keiichiro try to act nice, even though it's one of those situations where one guy's better than you and you don't want to admit it. And I like that they kept the continuity, like they know this is where he was originally, so we have to go back there eventually. I like that. And did you guys know they're actually selling every plushie they've ever advertised on the show, including the shark one, on sale now?
Okay.
You think I'm kidding? You think I'm kidding?
No, I don't think you're kidding, actually. It concerns me that you're not.
They even have both of last week's. That's fun. Not much else to say on this part, though.
So I do like the whole continuity of like, yeah, this is where we fought that other guy before. I know that it's only because this happens to be relevant to the episode and they're never going to reflect on like other villains again, but you know, it's nice little continuity. Also, every Sentai member likes kids. Like, every single one of them. The only time I can think of someone not was Kiryu Gold when he pretended not to try and impress the other Kiryugers.
I could argue Stinger in the beginning. At the very least.
Maybe.
Well, because I look things up, the LupinRanger swords are literally called Lupin Sword.
Fancy.
And it has two modes, Sword Mode and Magic Hand Mode, because I guess nobody learned from Forza. This works as a fairly standard episode beginning that really serves nothing for plot, for lack of a better term. This is the for me the best thing about this opening is the fact that they referenced previous episodes, with the fact that hey, we're near where that other gangler's hideout was, so there might be one near here. It's a good conductive reasoning, and altogether kind of meh start for an episode, but yeah, still wasn't bad.
Yeah, we've been having some pretty intense ones lately. So at Dogranio's mansion, the gangler Togeno Ibus boasts that he has a plan so impressive that Dogranio should see it in person on Earth. He says that he joined forces with Ododo, the younger of the Crash brothers. He plans to eliminate the police. And then we get the opening. Anyone have any thoughts on that short scene?
A good setup for what was to come, but I think we'll have more to say when we get to the big lead up to that.
How bold of him to ask the big guy himself to come down and watch him in person. And it turns out to be a really good, like, story way to do something that we'll talk about later.
Like all in all, this was a pretty ingenious idea if it would have worked. Because I mean, if his plan would have worked completely, because I mean, let's face it, everybody here knows how this plays out. Even the people who've never seen the show, it's freaking Power Rangers. It it's a genius idea of, you know what, I'm gonna kick some ass, and you should be there to watch it because I'm gonna take your place. Like, it's the cockiness of it is kind of refreshing, especially considering the fact that he's using somebody else to do it. And then, did we cover the scene with the Crash Brothers?
Not yet.
Not
That's
yet.
later on.
Okay, then I'll hold off on that because that was just amazing.
Yeah, so after the opening, we cut to Jiraiya. Get the episode title, number 14, The Set Trap. Kogure briefs them on Togeno, who's an assassin who kills for money. A hitman, basically. His collection piece allows him to shrink himself, which could be troublesome because they can't steal from his safe. He's tiny. Then we cut to the police on patrol in their car. A man stops in front of them because he's being chased by Togeno. The PatoRangers Keisatsu change and roll call. During the fight, a strange voice echoes around them, and it gives Togeno a chance to escape. The civilian believes he's being chased because of the thing that he has, which is coincidentally a VS vehicle. He hands it to the police and runs away. Thoughts?
Okay. I think this is as good a place as any for me to say this. I've said it to everybody on this crew more than once, so I hate to repeat myself, but oh my god, the Tomika Hero flashbacks in this episode is just ridiculous. I mean, even the Versus vehicle is a classic vehicle they would have used at that time, and you know, just to see all this go down, like, the fight was alright, I will give them that, but oh my god, this seriously feels like it was ripped straight from their scripts. And that's not necessarily a problem, it's just there, I think.
No, that this random stranger with the VS vehicle isn't obviously another Ganglar. He isn't obviously the one that was doing the weird voice thing to confuse the PatoRangers. Although, I will say though, I was confused by that because that's something I would have expected from Togeno after shrinking himself small. So, good on them for throwing that curveball. Vashi?
It helps if I unmute my mic when I start talking.
Usually.
Yeah. I mean, that was a nice touch, enough to throw suspicion off a little bit, I guess, for lack of a better term. Because everybody expects it to be him to use the voice when he shrinks, but he doesn't shrink, so it's more confusing, I guess. But yeah, it was fairly obvious that the guy was involved as Well, because what are the odds of somebody else just going, "Hey, look what I found"? But yeah, especially with the fact that we already knew that he was working with somebody else.
Also, that guy just the Togeno seemingly gave up too easily when he was apparently chasing after that guy.
Right, because none of the other monsters have, backed off once the cops have shown up. And this one did, so it's kind of, wait a minute.
Yep. So let's see. At the station, Jim reports that there's something large buried underneath Mount Tokiori. Keiichiro considers using the new drill vehicle to investigate, but he will be all alone if something happens underground. However, he's determined to protect the children and fulfill his promise. Ododo reports to Togino and is anxious to have his revenge. Then we get a flashback to the Crash brothers determined to become the Granio's successors using the two VS vehicles that they have. However, PatoKaiser and Labrum's giant battle broke out right where they were at, and the elder brother just got smushed by PatoKaiser. And I'm guessing there wasn't even a safe left to revive him, or maybe his safe was just like buried underground when he got squashed. What did you guys think of that?
One of the greatest jokes about the Megazords has finally come to fruition. Only this time it was on our favor. And yeah, that made me realize something. Are we back to being screwed? Because if he had a collection piece and he's dead and we can't revive him and take the piece, are we fucked?
He was holding his collection piece and it got buried underground when he was stepped on.
Okay, I gotcha now. Okay. Still, though, I always wondered when they would show that. And what is it now? Oh my god. 40 plus years later, it finally comes to be. Only this time it's a monster instead of a civilian, so yay us? Does that count as escalating the battle? I don't know if it is.
A different battle was already escalated.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's just great. Accidentally stepping on a different ganglar. Also, what's even funnier than that is that Destro's been desperately trying to get his hands on a VS vehicle so he can study them. Meanwhile, two ganglars just already had them, and one of them survived. He's just been out there, and Destro didn't even know. I find that hilarious.
Well, I mean, that adds into the whole them not being a tight-knit mafia family. And the fact that Destro's just entirely way too desperate to find one that he's not thinking to go, hey, maybe one of these other guys have found it. I was amazed that they brought in the fact that, hey, the Megazord has finally stepped on somebody as an explanation for anything to have happened in this episode. I have been waiting for that, because I've said it on previous ones. Like, I kind of want a series that's entirely based around like the civilians who have to fix the crap that the Sentai members break in their giant mech fights. So we actually have something that shows, hey, here's something that can't be fixed. It's a dead guy. I find that funny for some reason.
Let's see. At Mount Tokiori, Ichigo uses the drill vehicle and begins digging. Togeno and Ododo are stopped while they're on the way there by the thieves. And during the mission, Keiichiro remembers his elementary classmates and their parents being afraid of, I guess, like a serial assailant at a nearby park who was attacking people. Keiichiro was prepared to defend the park by himself in like a umpire armor and a kendo sword. Uh, but a kind police officer convinced him that it's the police's job to catch criminals and promised to catch him. He fulfilled his promise and inspired Keiichiro to become an officer. It was a pretty sweet flashback. What you guys think?
I loved it. It was so awesome. um, and like I said, a lot of to make a hero again in this, so enough said there.
I'm glad that we finally find out why Keiichiro wanted to become a police officer. We and it's really nice, uh, especially since he saw the cop arrest the guy, whereas the kid that he was trying to impress isn't going to see him defeat the gangler. It kind of shows that, like, yeah, things don't always work out the way you plan them to.
Like, this was a very well done um, little flashback for Keijiro. Because again, it adds more to his character, why he's so hard pressed for, protecting everybody and all that. And he's like, and you see, he's like, oh, well, he kind of grew up seeing this type of stuff. It's like, and he had that cop to sit and go, no, this is our job. We should be the ones to do it, nobody else. And it kind of bored that into his mentality, which is why he strives so hard to be that guy who can look at a kid and go, no, we've got this. You don't have to worry about doing anything on your own, or those phantom thieves that are really just criminals. Focus on the police. It adds more depth to his character and understanding of why he is the way he is, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So during the fight, Kairi opens Ododo's safe, but he doesn't have a collection piece. Irritated, Togino throws his collection piece to distract the thieves while they escape. Pretty crafty, because they really don't care about defeating the gangler. Most of the time, in the cockpit, Ichigo is stabbed in the back by 3 of Togino's poison needles. His transformation ends, and he collapses. Togino and the civilian from earlier arrive, and of course, he reveals himself as Ododo. Tsukasa tries to warn Keiichiro, but obviously it's too late. Togino explains how he shrunk himself to set up the dart trap inside the vehicle, while the vehicle was still tiny. Keiichiro ignores Hilltop's order to return to the surface and continues to drill forward. That was really intense. And then, Dogranio, Gosh, and Destra are watching from a nearby cliff. Dogranio warns that he better not be disappointed. Nigo and Sango change and fight. Thoughts?
Very clever on the villain side. It was elaborate. It was honestly really well thought out, and I did like the bit up until the fight. Of course, having the main villains up in the background is a little daunting, but that adds on to it. And I know this is a bit later, but kudos on the makeup department for Keiichiro, because you can tell he's not doing good. His eyes are sunken, and he looks white as a sheet. Good on them for at least. I mean, it's probably not entirely accurate, if I'm going to be honest, but Good on them for, at the very least, attempting to make it seem like there's a drastic change here.
Oh, definitely. I want to talk more about his makeup later. As for the plan, this was like a really good plan. Split up the team and poison one of them. All that's left is to take care of the other two. So you just have to be able to fight. Except Togeno can't fight, that's why he has a dodo. And like, having this is a great way to introduce the main villain to the heroes. Because up till now they don't know exactly who they've been fighting, just the Ganglars. Now they see Dogranio themselves, like, oh my god, this is the big guy himself. And he's not here to fight either, he's here to watch, because all the Ganglars are competing, so he doesn't want to interfere unnecessarily. Also, I did not realize that Dogranio's mustache was white. I thought it was gray in the dark lighting this whole time.
It adds to his age, I guess. But it also shows just how badass that Dogranio is. The fact of nobody knows who the head's been, at least as far as we can tell. So for his entire first appearance to the Sentai team is just, I'm just gonna set up on this cliff. Y'all do what you're gonna do. It shows the level of, again, for mom family, it shows that cockiness, that arrogance that comes with it. But it also shows that the knowledge of his own power of nothing can hurt me if I'm here, rather than being one of those that hide off because they have this one weird weakness or whatever it is, or in the case of the one from Juoger, where it's his entire secret, he's just made of Moeba, and he doesn't want anybody else to find out. But it was a kind of a badass way to go. Yeah, I'm the bad guy. What are you gonna do about it? Kind of thing. The plan of itself for the actual Monster of the Week angler was entirely freaking ingenious. Because you look at the plans everybody else has had up until now, they've not really had one. I mean, they've had an overall goal with what they wanted to do, but no real plan to stop any kind of interference. This one did, and it worked effectively for the most part. And it was really, really well executed, and the makeup on Keijiro was pretty damn good, and I'll wait till Rai comes back to that to make my comments on it.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh yeah, Ododo is defeated after being hit by a poison dart that Sango deflected. Dogranio is disappointed and uses a strange ability that defeats the Rangers in one hit and injures Togeno. Dogranio tells him that he can't take his seat with cheap tricks. Gosh revives Ododo after they leave, and before he can crush the police to get his revenge, Keiichiro arrives in the crane vehicle. Jim points out that the vehicles were originally one, so they combine when Keiichiro arrives in Drill. So just like Scissors and Blade were one, Crane and Drill are one.
Drill, shovel, mixer, crane, jetto, go, go! Wait, wrong Sentai.
Ultimate Daibo can't. So fun. Anyways, Keiichiro uses both vehicles to defeat Ododo. Yeah, he didn't even need to use the mech. What a weak gangler. But he collapses after his victory. Episode end. Thoughts?
Good on them for trying to balance the power flux a little bit, so now they both have combiner mechs. Yay! Although I'm wondering what they're gonna call the Pat Kaiser version of that, because the Scissors and Blade Dial Fighters make Lupin Kaiser Knight, so what do Crane and Drill make Pat Kaiser? Construction worker? I don't...
I can actually tell you, because I know what it is.
Okay.
Strong.
Name could use some work, but okay.
That's okay.
I mean, I get it. It's gonna wear him down over time, so makes sense that he would collapse like that. Although, good on him for using only the mechs and not the Megazord.
So, his makeup is spot on. He looks like he's actually going to pass out at any second. Coupled with his great acting of someone that's like actually like struggling to stay awake right now. We could compare this to Kamen Rider Build because Sento had just gone poisoned in that show. And it was supposed to be like an alien poison from Mars, so they had like a bunch of like black marker lines all over his neck and such. Okay, so I get that they're going for like an alien theme, but it doesn't look like very much. It just leaves it up to Sento's acting, his amazing acting, by the way, for it to seem like, yeah, he's actually might die right now. Here, you're getting not as good on the acting part, but you're getting both.
Right, because Keiichiro's acting's not the greatest. They've done a good job of like cracking the joke at it, like they did with the filming a movie episode. Kind of took a stab at it a little bit, but combined with how well the makeup was done for this, it fits almost perfectly with it. It's like his I want to say jumpy acting, and not, and I don't know how to word this exactly how I want to be able to express it properly. It fits with that makeup, with him being poisoned and trying to overcome it and fight against it. It works really, really well. My only slight issue with it is it's very, very close to zombie makeup.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like if you watch the bad sci-fi, which I guess this would count, as the people are turning into zombies, like while they're still alive, this is the look they have. Like, so it's a little disconcerting a little bit because I'm just sitting there going, oh, maybe he's going to be a zombie next week.
Make him less sweaty and put him in a bed, and he just looks like he has a cold.
Well, that was it for the episode. I guess you can move on to final thoughts. It was a fun episode. I liked the focus on the police, obviously. And I'm glad we got some more backstory for Keiichiro. And surprisingly, this is going to be a two-parter, so we'll see how next week goes.
It had its ups, it's had its downs, but one thing is for certain. Unless we can get the PatoRangers shit together and they don't die, we are screwed. And I can't wait.
Yeah. The other gangler, Dodo, really did not pull his own weight this episode. And, like, with his brother, it seemed like, oh yeah, if these two fought together, they'd be the stupidly strong for no reason duo. But, like, screw it, they just didn't even bother with that trope this time around. Great. This was a pretty good episode. It was very simple in its plot, But what really makes it good is its execution. Just everything about that was spot on. Definitely looking forward to Keiichiro pushing himself way farther than he should next episode.
Like, right said it best. The execution for this episode is what makes it what makes it amazing. And I enjoyed the fact that Keiichiro had for lack of a better term, an extremely badass moment of, I'm just going to wreck the giant monster my damn self. Poison and all that was kind of badass. And I'm looking forward to the next for next week, just to see how even more useless the monster this week is.
And like, we've had like in the past, the Red or whoever has to overcome a hardship. It's not always this good, where you feel like they're actually undergoing a hardship. There was one in PatoRanger where Bon had to like keep running from one building to another within a certain amount of time limit, and it's supposed to like, oh my god, that's ridiculous, but he keeps like doing it each time, except, and you feel like, yeah, he's putting a lot of effort into it. You don't really feel like he's about to pass out from how much exercise he's doing. Here, they actually put in a bit of more effort into that, and I really appreciate it. Is that all?
I mean, I guess.
Alright, well, thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more Kamen Rider Build. Pandora's box is, it's doing some stuff. And next Tuesday for more LupinRanger vs. PatoRanger. Part 2 of this episode. See you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Adieu, and later, taters.
Thank you all for joining. See you guys later.